Shira Kalfa, and in this video I'd like to talk briefly about what is a corporate minute book and the reasons why it's so important to maintain your corporate minute book or to have a corporate minute book. So what is a corporate minute book? A corporate minute book is a book that contains all of the constating documents of your corporation. So that's your articles of incorporation, otherwise known as your charter, your constitution. And it also contains the corporate bylaws, the organizational resolutions. Those are the resolutions that set out who are the directors, officers, and shareholders of your corporation, as well as other important matters such as when your fiscal year end is, who's your appointed accountant, lawyer, registered office. And those are all required by law to be resolved initially when you incorporate a company. Those are called organizational resolutions. They organize the corporation. Next in the minute book are the ledgers and registers. That's a listing of the directors, officers, shareholders, and real property that the corporation owns. And then finally in the minute book is the physical share certificates. Those are the stock certificates that evidence the shareholders' shareholdings in the corporation. And those are extremely important. A lot of people incorporate online, and unfortunately the government, nobody tells you that when you incorporate and you have your articles of incorporation, you have only about 10% of what's required to have a valid corporation under the governing legislation, the Ontario Business Corporations Act or the Canada Business Corporations Act. The remaining documents are the minute book documents, as I just indicated. Year over year, that minute book needs to be updated, and those are called annual resolutions in lieu of a physical annual general meeting. And so you could do either or, but today in modern corporate law, we generally just do written resolutions in lieu of an actual meeting. The legislation requires that the shareholders and directors resolve that they have reviewed and approved the financial statements as prepared by the corporation's accountant. And those are called annual resolutions. That is what's required by law to update your minute book. And that's what we mean when we say we need to update your minute book. As well, the minute book will contain resolutions relating to any changes, so a change in registered office, a transfer of shares. It will also contain resolutions approving certain contracts that the corporation has entered into. Maybe it's borrowed some money from a bank, that's going to be recorded in the minute book. If it's guaranteed any debts or loans, that's recorded in the minute book. If there's a shareholders agreement or basically any contract, the corporation has to resolve to enter into that contract, and so that's recorded. And so in that sense, the minute book is a bit of a story or a timeline. It's the minutes. That's why it's called the minute book. Documenting the lifespan of the corporation. So that's what a corporate minute book is. It's required by law. So here's why it's important to have one. I always say no one's going to knock at your door tomorrow. There's no government agency that's going to knock at your door and say, where's your corporate minute book? Nobody polices whether you have one, but it's incredibly important to have one for two reasons. The first is CRA. If the CRA conducts a general corporate income tax audit, they're going to request a copy of your minute book. And if you say to them, well, what's a minute book? They're going to draw an adverse inference. And what that means is that if you haven't been compliant with corporate legislation, you're likely not compliant with tax legislation. And so they draw that inference and you could face penalties. And the second scenario is where you want to sell your business. And if you want to sell your company in Canada, we have this amazing tax exemption called the Lifetime Capital Gains Exemption. And that's only available if you sell shares of your corporation. And that gives you up to $883,000 in tax-free sale of shares. And so again, you need a corporate minute book in order to sell those shares. And so very often, it comes to our attention in the context of a transaction as we proceed to closing, and we ask our client, okay, send us a copy of the minute book. We're going to send it over to the other side to conduct due diligence, and then we're going to endorse the share certificates for transfer. And we discover there is no minute book. Well, this is really problematic. One, it flags to the buyer. Similarly to the CRA, if there isn't this legal compliance, what other skeletons are there in the closet? What other legal compliance is lacking? What else has the corporation not complied with? So it really does not look good to a buyer if there's no corporate minute book or it hasn't been updated year over year. And so those are the two reasons why minute book is is extremely important. But the third reason is it's required by law. So if you're the type of person where you want to do things properly, you want to make sure that your corporation has all of the necessary documents as is required by law, you got to get a corporate minute book when you incorporate. Now, if you're an existing business and you don't have a minute book, don't worry. There is a mechanism in which lawyers can prepare one, if there isn't one already, through a statutory declaration that you swear before us as commissioners or notaries. And so we can prepare a minute book for you. If you're a new business and just starting out, just highlighting for you, make sure you get a corporate minute book. If you're going to incorporate on your own, or if you're looking for a lawyer to incorporate for you, make sure that that's included in those services, because it's integral for your corporation. And so if you have any other questions on this topic, feel free to contact me at shira@kalfalaw.com. If you have any other topics that you would like for us to discuss, email us and let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel below.